I was in London yesterday, and I thought, with all this story of these environmental protesters...
Oh, yeah, what didn't he close one of the bridges?
Waterloo Bridge, I went there.
Oh, right, okay.
I went there.
Okay.
Now, as I walked up the steps, because I was down by the National Theatre, if you know the area on the South Bank, and then I have to walk up the steps to the bridge.
Right, I don't know it well, but...
The steps stunk of pee. Reeked of pee. Like a multi-storey car park.
Well, what are you suggesting here?
Well, I've since asked people who live around that way. Well, no, actually don't live around that. They work around that way. So did the steps up to Waterloo Bridge usually stink of pee? And they went, no. Since those ferals have been on the bridge.
Protesters.
Ferals.
Not feral. Protesters.
Ferals.
Right, so let me get it straight. They're protesting climate change, right?
I'm all for... I don't think we should be pooing in our own nest. I also don't think we should be peeing on steps outdoors in London.
Is that what they're doing, though?
Yes, that's what they're doing. Apparently, the night before, they'd had a party, the police told me.
Oh, right. Well,
yes.
That kind of defeats the object of the protest, doesn't it?
Ferals.
That's a bit...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit...
Yeah. White people in Hessian with dreadlocks. Ferals.
White people in dreadlocks.
Ferals.
Can we make that illegal? Can we make that a new law?
Yeah. It's cultural appropriation. It's the equivalent of blackface.
Oh no, of course it is. Yeah, totally.
White people with dreadlocks.
Totally, but
anyway,
but it's the protesters, mate. There's nothing wrong with a peaceful protest, is there?
It was pee-ful protest.
Right, it's
not peaceful.
When they're on the...
It was pee-ful, full of pee. They peed on the streets of London. Peed.
It's better than when they're on the runways of the airports and stuff like that, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I'd rather have them peeing on a runway than somewhere I'm going to walk.
Yeah, I mean,
Ferals.
If they're peeing in public, yeah, that's wrong.
They are.
That's out of order.
Ferals. Ferals. And
you ask them about it, at least.
They'd infested this bridge. Anyway, well, I went up there first and had a bit of a look round. It's like you're in a bizarro world. First of all, there's loads of them doing... I thought it was Tai Chi, but I've since read in the paper this morning it was yoga.
Right, okay.
They had a yoga class on Waterloo Bridge.
That sounds, yeah, just about right, doesn't it?
But why? There's plenty of places to go and commit yoga. You don't have to do it on a public bridge that you've closed.
I was going to say, isn't that the point, though?
They closed a major... and just below the bridge, there's a whole pedestrian area outside the National Theatre where there's buskers and stuff. Have your protests down there. Don't be stopping the traffic.
Well, isn't that the point of a climate change protest, though? To stop the traffic so there's no cars on the road? I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying... Isn't that the point? Isn't that what they're trying to do? Stop cars, stop the emissions.
But you stop traffic in London, it means there's more traffic idling its engine and putting out polluting CO2. It's actually making the situation worse because the traffic can't flow.
That's actually a very good point.
So anyway, so I had a bit of a walk round, and there's tents and that they're living in these tents.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a big stage. And there's music playing, there's musicians playing through a big PA system. And the PA, of course, driven by electricity. And the electricity being made by a generator. Running on petrol. Putting out fumes into the climate change protest. They could have at least had them all there riding bikes or something, stationary bikes generating the electricity. At least that would have been something. Anyway, so I had a chat with one of them. One of the ferals.
Did you ask him where the toilet was? You just point to the stairs.
I should have done, actually. But I wanted to get him on side. So I started out by saying, who are you? What's your name?
I'm Brendan.
What are you doing here, Brendan?
So I'm supporting Extinction Rebellion, and
What is that then?
So Extinction, we're a protest group formed last year, and we're calling for the government to take climate change more seriously.
What do you want them to do?
We want them to acknowledge that climate change is a crisis and it's an emergency.
I think we all know that.
We all know that, but they're ignoring it.
Specifically, what do you want them to do?
So we want them to be carbon neutral by 2025.
And how would you do that?
There's a lot of scientists, very intelligent scientists, climate scientists and economists, huge amounts of people that have come up with methods to do this.
Okay, what are they?
There's starters, basically stop switching to sustainable energy sources.
I'm going to stop him there. He says, stop switching to sustainable energy sources.
Stop switching to sustainable energy sources.
He says, stop switching to sustainable energy sources. He got the message round completely the wrong way. So that was when I suggested a sustainable energy source. Do you think we should switch to nuclear?
It's a mix. Nuclear's got some issues, but there are other options such as wind and solar. And there's new technologies for storing the energy, which are different forms of batteries, which are less damaging than lithium and things like that.
Okay. Do you have an electric car?
No, I don't own a car.
You don't own a car?
No.
How do you get around?
I'm a student. I use public transport.
Okay.
Which is also another thing. We need more investment in public transport, which is a lot more efficient than
diesel buses are really polluting.
Yeah, we can use electric or other methods.
So you want the government to ban cars?
Yes.
Okay, and how does closing Waterloo Bridge today help all that?
So it's basically making awareness and causing inconvenience, because basically, what is it? So we want basically it's to make it known that we're worried about this and we care, and this is why. Sorry, but yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Exactly got it together. He's not exactly got the message. Even he doesn't understand what they want. Okay, and how does closing Waterloo Bridge today help all that?
So it's basically making awareness and causing inconvenience, because basically, what is it? So we want basically it's to make it known that we're worried about this and we care, and this is why. Sorry, but yeah.
Thank you. What's tight about that? I asked him a fair question. Okay, you've said what you want. How does closing this bridge help us get there? And he's awareness.
He was doing well.
He wasn't doing well.
He was doing well up to that point, wasn't he?
But isn't that like your most obvious question?
Maybe that's when he started feeling stoned.
Yeah. Maybe he needed a pee. Oh, I don't know.
The Full Fix Breakfast with Graham, Mack and Gaz.